Hi dear students, I hope you all are fine. Plus you have started your studies because now it's hard time. You need to start your studies. There is no time to waste. Today we are going to study the third chapter and the name of the chapter is The Moon, Wind. But before that, I would like to request you to please like and subscribe this channel to receive more news and information. Plus sit with a notebook and a pen so that you can jot down important points of this lecture. After going through the stories, the fiction, today we are going to start a poetry. So students, poetry, as you all know, it is actually playing with the mind and it is very interesting to study. This poem, Moon Wind, is written by Ted Hughes, the very famous writer and poet. So let's get started. Students, to understand this poem, actually you need to think like a child. Like how the children think when they see moon, when they see sun very deeply, and they keeps on imagining, because this poem illustrates the imagination of a child. It states the imagery figures that a child makes when he or she sees the moon and the wind and the sun and the trees very deeply. So let's get started. In this poem, the main character is a boy, is a child, and he actually plays with his own imagination. He believes, in his conscious mind, he believes that there is a wind at the moon. But when he speaks, he doesn't say that there is a wind at the moon. So he says that, do you know there is such a high speed of wind at the moon that when we will go there, we will not be able to stand still and everything will be moving. The wind at the moon is so speedy that even the candle cannot stand and it's shivering. The wind at the moon is so speedy that when we will go and we will arrange a mark there, it will be sailing like a swan at the sea. Mark, M-A-R-Q-U-E-E. Actually, this is a large tent. When we go in the jungle safari or we make bonfire or we go in the picnic, we make tents, no? So the larger tent is actually, in standard English, is known as mark. So the child is saying, when we will go at the moon and we'll make the mark, it will start sailing like a swan at the sea and no one will be able to stand properly at the moon. So somewhere or the other, he believes that there is a wind at the moon, but actually it is not. It's only a imagination. He says that the wind at the moon is so speedy that it will take out your nails, it will unfix the screws, and it will take out the roots of the trees. It will shake in all the foundations of the houses. The wind is actually able to take over or move the lighter things like leaves and papers, right? But the wind at the moon is, according to the child, is so speedy that it will take out your nails and it will unfix the screws. It's imaginary, you know. So in this story, at the last, but after stating his own imagination through child, the poet actually illustrates at the last that no one will be actually saved from the wind of the moon, although there is nothing like shaking or moving. The moon is still at the stable position. This story actually, students, when you will read this poem carefully, you will find some compound contrary words. Now you must be thinking, what is ma'am saying? What is compound contrary words? As I told you, compounds are the single word made up of two independent meaning words, and contrary means the opposite, the words that are totally vice versa. If one is north pole, the second one is south pole. So words like bright darkness and dark sunlight, cold flames. So let's take the first one, bright darkness. Can the darkness be bright? No, darkness cannot be bright. Second is dark sunlight. Can the sunlight be bright? Never. It's always. Can the sunlight be dark? No, it is always bright. The third one is cold flames. The flame is made up of fire. The basic element of flame is fire, no? So how can the flame be cold? So these are the compound contrary words that the poet has used very beautifully in this poem. I hope you enjoyed this session, students, with me, and you have understood the imagination with which the child plays when he notices the environment. So here are some sets of assignments for you all. Do read this story poem very carefully, plus try to write the summary of this poem. I'm sure you will be able to play with your own imagination again, and plus solve the exercises and do discuss it with your friends, your siblings and your parents. Thank you so much. Bye.